Roger, the last time we were here, we had a chance to talk about your knee replacement surgery. Tell us about why you needed the surgery and how it came about.
Well, since you asked, well, let me introduce you to Russell himself. Russell is named after the surgeon who in that sense was his father, if you like. And Russell is just over 5 years old. Russell's smiling because just 2 days ago he did a PR 5K. Russell's never run that fast before. He ran 22:16, which is 7:10-mile pace, which is a pace which at age 77 I never thought I would do. It's getting up towards top level for that age group. And I'm now becoming a kind of guru for people who are considering or have had knee replacement. I have no medical knowledge, so I'm always very careful to say that. Russell is a partial implant rather than a complete replacement. And I can't speak about whether it's possible to run on a complete knee replacement. But the partial, the unicompartmental, as they call it, that I had, the advice from the surgeon, from Russell himself, who is an extremely good man and a great believer in exercise and a former runner and a great cyclist, terrific guy. His advice was don't run. And then when I went to see him after 2 years for the x-ray, he said, there's no wear, all is well. And then he looked at me rather quizzically and he said, have you been running? And I said, well, Russell, all my friends are under orders not to tell you because I only run in places where you wouldn't see me. This is back in New Zealand. And then I had another x-ray after 4 years and there's still no sign of wear on the prosthetic. And by that time I was racing quite hard and had begun to run every day. The key things, anybody who's listening and concerned about considering this replacement or considering running, be cautious. Remember, the body adapts slowly. You can't just jump straight into it with a new component in your leg and start running 10 miles a day. I started by running 10 paces every 5 days and then slowly adding, and to cut the long story short, I celebrated the first anniversary of the surgery by running 1 hour. Very slowly, and that was that. So it took me a whole year to build up to running 1 slow hour, and then I continued. The first time I ran a 5K, it took me something like 48 minutes, and then because I basically walked the whole way, and then I've gradually improved and gradually done more, and now I'm training as hard, I think, as I've ever done. Not as many miles because at 77 it takes you twice as long to cover the miles.
What longest distance have you done?
I did a half marathon, and I've done training runs of 2.5 hours. So I suppose 15 miles. But I'm not going to run a marathon. You see, that's another part of the caution. My theory is that in a marathon, you spend a long time running badly because you get tired and then you lose your running. And I don't want to do that. I want to be that cautious. I'm very careful on distance. I'm very careful not to run too much on paved surfaces, keep off concrete if that's at all possible, and cautious downhill.
Okay.
So I try and consider all of those things, do as much running as I can on soft surfaces, control it, don't take the risks. But then, of course, once I get into a race, I'm going to run as hard as I've ever done.
You probably come in first or place in your
age group. Yes.
Has Russell made any new friends?
There's actually, we're starting a tin knee running club. There's a really good runner, better than I am, in the older age groups. He's just turned 80, called Bill Riley from Connecticut. And he had a partial knee replacement, and he read what I'd written about Russell, and that inspired him to get back into running. And he's now doing that. And when we met, and he told me that story, and I said I should have kept my mouth shut.
He's now a fierce competitor.
He will be next time we race. Yes.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, there's this whole community of Russells who are beginning to develop. His is called Richard. He's an American. He's from Connecticut.
So there are doctors here who could do it?
Absolutely there are, yes. Oh, I wouldn't question that, but it's cheaper in New Zealand. So that's the story with Russell. And I now have a completely unexpected rebirth as a runner. 10 years ago, I thought I would never run again, never run a step again. It got to the point when I thought I was going to be in a wheelchair.
Wow.
Because the pain in the knee was so great.
This has been a Gotta Run with Will moment.